And now we came to the conclusion of our Congress, and it is my pleasure to give floor to the President of our Congress, Dr.Luc de Schepper.
Thank you. Dear friends, at the closure of this Congress, I hope we all have drunk from the source of knowledge. Knowledge that has a great impact on many lives if practiced correctly. Anything which does not really have an impact on one's life in the first place, or the lives of others in the second place, is really, in my opinion, absolutely not worthwhile learning. It is much better than to go fishing and dancing, or anything else, than to learn things which have no impact on one's life, directly or indirectly. As Carl Jung said, we know that there is no human foresight or wisdom that can prescribe the direction to our life, except for the small stretches on the way. The school of life is always a detour. How much is there to strive? And that we reach only by detour. Fate confronts us like an intricate labyrinth, all too rich in possibilities. And yet, of these many possibilities, there is only one that is your own. For us homeopaths, the right way is the organon that guides us into the light when confronted with the darkness of man. I do not think we have the right to accuse anyone as if we were judges. When we understand that nothing that happens to the patient is always also happening in us, we will not be judgmental or moralistic or indignant about the patient. Since homeopathy postulates that any illness which is curable by homeopathy, that the remedy can be found if the physician can find it, it imposes a heavy psychological, intellectual, and moral burden on those who practice it correctly. We cannot try to evade this obligation as not to cause discord with our ranks. As Confucius said, study the past if you want to know the future. To all of you who worked so hard with incredible and unrelenting discipline, despite the impossibility for many of receptivity, miracles, as have been shown recently in the Middle East, with totally surprising rapidity of change, could happen in medicine and homeopathy. All of you are leading the charge to freedom of medical neglect, or what Ivan Illich called disabling professions. To be productive as a homeopath, we must possess care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge. We must think of the whole mankind as being a single body, and each nation as constituting a part of that body. We must not say, if there is sickness in a certain place in the world, what does that matter to me? If there is such sickness, we must be just as much concerned with it as though it happened right in our midst. I hope this Congress has cleared up some of the confusion that reigns in the homeopathic world. And what is worse, such confusion, some believe this very confusion to be a normal state of mind. But because of this confusion, the homeopath feels isolated, bewildered, and often powerless. Each of you as homeopaths should retain his critical capacities and not give up your inner independence by surrendering to the authority of another convincing semi-hypnotist masquerading as a homeopath to think and feel what such hypnotist wants you to think and feel. Rational thinking, ladies and gentlemen, is based on productive, intellectual, and emotional activity and having a rational vision. The latter in itself is a result of very in-depth study, reflective thinking, and observation rather than chasing a fantasy. People want promise from our profession, and Hahnemann called one ignorant who promises lightly for the cure of a difficult disease. May humankind just as Phoenix rises from its ashes through the reintroduction of empirical medicine, we need a radical and profound shift in many aspects of life, but also especially in medicine. If this culture will survive in the long run, it means getting back to the roots, to the empirical quantum approach in science. Empiricism, in its homeopathic foundation, is a science of the individual patient that recognizes the need for a specific individual remedy to address the fact of heterogeneity. We need people, ladies and gentlemen, with uncommon vigor and insight, men of pronounced individuality and acute mentality, full of unintimidated courage, with a passion and impulse toward independence of thought and action. May you, the homeopath, join the ranks and declare at the end of your path, I have had my day, I have done my duty, and I have realized my dreams. Thank you very much to all.